So really, it's another couple weeks before anything happens after that, which is, I think, part of what your frustration is with it, I know.
There's a long way to go, let me
Yeah.
tell you.
I'm confused. Did somebody go out there to inspect it, and if they did, was it acceptable or not?
I have to check on that to see, I have to look it up in the system and find out what they said, what the measurement was on.
If it's not, then it goes through our process. They would get issued a citation. They'd have X number of days to remedy it, and then if not, they get fined.
Just a thought, and I don't know if they would say, I don't know, you can ask me, but there's that whole thing about no mow.
I was gonna bring that up. I'm sure it's not in our code. There are a lot of people who do no mow May, and what it does is it allows a lot of things to go to seed, and it encourages pollinators. I'm sure it's not in our code, but it is something we might consider.
I don't know why, I suspect that that's not the issue here. I think I know which property it is.
It may not be, I completely.
Yeah.
It's called.
But.
Yes, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
Yes, all right, so the village staff will follow up with you, and thank you for coming here.
Yeah, the no mow May might be something to.
Yeah, that's a whole fun one, right?
I will say that where that is observed, it's usually done by, administrative, enforcement or, allowance, if you will.
Yeah, it's a proactive.
Yeah, I mean, the notion is, as you've described, and rather than change code, it's usually just that there's not going to be strict enforcement of the property maintenance.
Oh, like the SEC, no enforcement louder, okay. We have this thing, but we're not going to.
So thank you for being,
We always get that
Yeah.
discretion.
thank you for being here, and we'll hopefully get it addressed, and your patience.
However, no mow May is marginally beneficial. Dandelions and a lot of weeds came from Britain. They're native to Britain. And the pollinators in the United States don't use them very
Yeah.
much.
I'm a second.
Baloney.
Yeah,
As a beekeeper, I could tell you that first dandelion bloom is super important to get your hives established. Without
Really?
that dandelion bloom, they've got a real hard time to make it through winter and get going.
That's what I was reading in the botanical.
I've been doing bees for 45 years. Without that dandelion bloom, your bees don't have a chance. You need the dandelions.
Why don't you write an article?
Thank you for telling me.
I'm sorry to sound like that.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep us in order here, so let's go, Benjamin, you raise your hand. Yeah, go.
Right.
I'm Benjamin Matthew, I'm from 4369 Oak Leaf Lane in the Oak Leaf subdivision. I just had two questions. The first question is, my association wanted to know if there was any updates about 4359, if the village attorney was able to send out the letter, and if there's been a response. The second issue, we have about the signs that are used for the, planning commission, because my understanding is there is a code that says the village has put up the signs, but there's nothing that says the size of it. So, my message to the board is there should be large signs like we used to have before, and they should be codified that it should be whatever, 4x6 or whatever, instead of those smaller political flimsy signs. As mentioned by the other case here, people who have long grass and wooded lots, and you put those little flimsy signs, nobody's gonna clean them.
Yeah, I can. So the first question, they've received their response from us and have not resubmitted any documents, so there's no change in that yet. Second one, I did hear from the chair of the PCZBI and the sign stuff, so we're looking into that. We are transitioning firms from Mundelein to Statesville, so.
Oh, and just one final question about Statesville. Will their contact information be on the village website like the way Mundelein was before?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Chris?
Unless there's somebody.
We'll just keep going this way, because there was a whole bunch of hands.
Chris Meyer, 271 Cherry Valley. There's been a little progress with Abbott. They did come out and weed whack because they can't mow. The berm is too steep. They did weed whack behind my house. But I'm also speaking on behalf of my neighbor, Patty Duran, who worked in commitment. She wasn't able to attend. They did nothing behind her house. There's nothing been done about, they didn't mow her burnt grass behind the fence and they only went about 2/3 of the way up the berm, but that's okay. A little's better than nothing, but none of my neighbors on either side got any benefit today. Also, I'd like to know what the timing is for their maintenance. Are they going to be doing it once a month, once every 6 weeks? Which, as you know, with the weather, lately, the grass is growing like crazy, and it was over 2 feet tall. And thirdly, I mean, it was this high. And there was talk about them putting in drain tile so that my neighbor's home or yard isn't a soggy mess. She still can't use her yard. And I'd like to know the timing. Are they going to need a permit? Will it come before, of the board or anybody to get the permit? Will Julie have to be called? I don't think there is anything buried back there as far as utilities, because they're pretty much overhead. And when would it start? And when are they going to fix the fence behind her house and remove the dead limbs and the dead trees and the invasive species behind her house, which are falling onto the fence, causing the problem? And thirdly, any progress on taking down that berm at least 2 or 3 feet so that it's not flooding the yard?
Does anybody know when the berm appeared?
About,
You missed last time, she brought pictures.
I had pictures, they were old pictures of when it was just a little raised, but a flat cornfield. And it's been there about, oh gosh, I can't remember when it was put in.
Yeah, we can do, overhead Google, shots that go way back.
Yeah.
But the question is, we know about berms, right? And the question is, how did that berm get that high? And if it's Longo,
It is.
was there permission?
It was.
Is it so high that it's a nuisance now, and we can say we need to?
I can give you some of the history. When it was Abbott Farm and used as a farm, and after it was no longer used by the farm, and Mr. Widener would plant corn and what have you there, rotate the crops every other year. And then it was sold, and it was going to be Home Gridley Farms, I believe it was called, and that went bust. But when it was Gridley Farms, all of a sudden one day, they come along and there's what would you say, Dana, 6 feet at least?
Mm-hmm.
Berm that is, it almost goes like a mountain. It doesn't slope, it doesn't tape, it's steep. And even the landscaper said, we can't mow it, we have to weed whack it, because it's too steep.
But I think
There was no permit, and it's against long growth code.
So, okay, so you're addressing some of this, right?
Yeah, so, Jeff most recently has talked to them because sometimes when I talk to them, I don't understand what they're talking about. So I asked Jeff to, step in to, understand kind of what they're asking as far as, the idea to, help, eradicate, because the big issue is the water and the drainage, there. So Jeff most recently talked to, the landscape, so they use a private landscaping, company, so he reached out to me. We talked last year, and this is a company that, did a lot of work, which I thought was gonna be across the board, and it turned out he really just addressed, the space behind Chris's yard, and did a great job of cleaning up there.
We can really get out the
Didn't
greens,
really
I
help
guess.
out the neighbors.
And who employed him?
Abbott Farm, and so it's a company that Abbott Farm, hired contract to do landscape work. So Jeff spoke to him the other day.
Yeah, so just my interaction, his name's Tom, he's with the landscaping company. We just set up a meeting for later this week, Thursday morning, just to walk the property, look at it from the other side, and what they're gonna do in their plans to address the drainage, the overgrown, and reestablish that, drainage swale that, was platted with the old river funds.
And there's still the buckthorn also.
Yes. From what we saw that, and from the original plat, there is a drainage easement that's basically not being utilized enough, right? That's underutilized?
Yeah, behind Chris's house, it's well established.
Behind Patty's, there's so
Yeah.
many trees and.
So that's gonna be part of the discussion.
Yeah.
Thursday morning.
Is Abbott part of your conversation? It seems like
Yeah.
we're doing all the work and.
The landscaper is employed by Abbott, certainly.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
I mean, this has been for a long time,
Yeah.
and not so much is happening.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And so maybe
one of the
Abbott
managers
needs a little push
Yeah, so they
From-
are part of the
from-
conversation.
perhaps Chris or Bill or somebody to get them to seriously address it.
I mean, Jeff can testify to Patty's yard, you get pretty muddy shoes that day.
Okay, so I mean,
This needs to have some progress.
correct,
Yeah.
I think, so first off,
That's,
so what I think we first off need to do is, so, I don't know if you have it documented, you know, the items that are, measures are being taken, I think that's what we need to do, and then we get the progress against that.
And it's not just my house,
It's-
Patty's house,
Yeah,
well, the berm stops, it starts, it stops, it starts.
yeah,
There's no rhyme or reason to it, and it goes mostly from down around the corner by my house on Cherry Valley, all the way down into behind the houses in Hawthorne Club, and there was even a trustee on the board in Vernon Hills was having problems, and never was able to get anything resolved. So it's not just my problem, I mean, it's not just my complaint.
To be clear though, we are, you know, we are far from where it was, you know, a few months before the winter last year. So it went a long time with absolutely nothing coming out of them.
Right.
And we finally, you know, broke through them to even get them to do anything behind Chris's yard. So they fixed our fence there.
Right.
Cut out all the weeds and stuff, and they did start, like, taking the calls and working with us. They weren't doing anything. So now at least they are doing stuff, and one of the, managing engineers, Charlie there, like, has been one of the ones that we've talked to over there, who's the one that landscaper reports to and everything. So we are getting, like, somewhere,
not we're,
I mean.
well, so can we just document this though, so let's start a record, and then let's update the board so we know where it's at, and we'll have it on a report for next week.
and keep Abbott in the loop.
In the loop, yeah.
I have to get a petition with all the names of the people.
No.
I don't think that's what we're saying, you don't have to do that, you can if you want, but you
Jeff,
don't
I'm
have
gonna meet
to.
with them Thursday, so we'll get an action.
We'll
report
get
from Jeff.
this documented and then share it, and let's keep monitoring it.
What's the maximum berm height? I know we have.
That's a whole nother fun discussion, I don't know if you
I
want.
know, but what,
You remember that one?
within max, it's 8 feet?
In the scenic corridor.
8 feet?
8 feet in the scenic corridor, yeah.
That's the max. And so if they're at 6, we're kind of SOL.
So I can take, and get some rudimentary measurements on how steep it is, but yeah, even Lake County area with 5 or 6 to 7 feet.
So what about,
60?
627. 627.
Oh, got it, okay.
what about slope and maintenance?
I'll measure the slope, they can have it up to a 25, or 33% pitch, so I'll measure that and.
I'll bet it's more than it would be my guess. And they never had a permit to begin with?
That we don't know, so that's a whole other can of worms, yeah. Yeah.
That was my understanding when I first started coming, there was not permission.
Because that would be a reasonable rubric for us to use, that not trying to be pests or,
Right.
obviously, this is more than a year,
Oh, yeah.
more than a year, so.
Yeah.
So we'll get this documented and, let's track it. So that's the only thing, 'cause I don't see anything in writing, it's just, verbal reports, so, yep, please, thank you. Let's keep us moving, yep, Jean?
Hi, I'm Jean Sylvester, I'm the chair of the Architectural and Historic Preservation Commission, a resident of Long Grove, and, I'm here to talk about two matters. One is the, proposed amendment to the Historic Preservation Ordinance, it's coming up later, and I'm happy to talk about it then. And then the second matter is the survey that the board approved at one of its most recent meetings.
We approved budget, we haven't approved the survey, it's just the budget, yeah. Well, so, I mean, you can wait on the other one if you have questions, if you want, to make it part of that discussion.
Okay, happy to do that.
But do you want to talk about the historic?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that I appreciate the forward thinking of the board in being open to doing a survey. And I would encourage the village and the board to look at surveys that have been done in other local municipalities. The public really seem to enjoy the information when it's posted on the village website through GIS. And it only collects information that is publicly available, either through research or from viewing a building in the public right of way. Nobody goes into any buildings, nobody has to talk to any owners, it's just publicly available information. And, something that the Preservation Commission is required to do under the code. But I also want to reassure the board and, prospective owners of either commercial buildings or residential buildings that may be surveyed, that, again, it is just information that's publicly available. It carries absolutely no strings whatsoever. It's not the gateway to any type of restriction or anything. It is just literally collecting information and putting it into one particular document or website and making that information available. So, like I said before, I'm happy to answer any questions about that, either to you or to the business owners or to the residents of Long Grove or anything, but it is a very benign process, but people love to look at it. People love to look at it online and look up their house and other buildings, and it's a win-win for everyone.
Would it be onerous for you to just accumulate some links to send to this board in terms of how have other, either property owners or municipalities used these?
Sure, I'd be happy to do
If it's not onerous?
Not at all. I'd be happy to do that.
Jean, where would anyone find the surveys that other communities have completed?
So, you look up the village, so like, for example, the village of Lake Bluff, you just look up village of Lake Bluff, and you will see, I don't know exactly what it says, but it will say, you know, historic preservation, or will say, you know, it pops up immediately as a map, and it's very interactive. So say this was in Long Grove, they could click on the address of the village hall, a little picture would show up, and it would say, former Drexler Tavern, built in so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. And that's it.
Could you give us 4 or 5
Yeah,
towns?
I'd be happy to. I'm working, right now on a resurvey of a section of Highland Park, in my professional life, not as a member of any commission in Long Grove. And that particular section of Highland Park was surveyed in the 90s. And Highland Park is a certified local government, so they applied for a grant to the state of Illinois. They received a grant to resurvey that period, because from the 90s, obviously, there have been a lot of changes to these buildings. So that's what I'm doing right now is that. So yes, I'd be happy to give you a list of, you know, no more than 5 or, you know, fewer if you want. And then you can just sort of literally like play with it, and it will pop up the report that's issued, and then there is an interactive map. And it comes with, I can't say this enough, absolutely no restrictions or strings whatsoever. But it does offer the opportunity to look further into other incentives, but no restrictions on anyone or anything.
Thank you for that. I think when we get to that point to consider it, we would probably bring you in on all that, so.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you that I saw that, and I just appreciate everyone open to.
Thank you. Thanks. Jane?
I got a couple.
Okay.
First of all, thank you.
No berms? Okay, good.
We're on Knoll, we're all kind of up higher, but no berms, thank
All
God.
right, good.
Thank you.
Oh,
This is a resolution from
Yes.
last, that was given to us, and it's all framed. Thank you so much. That was so wonderful of you guys to do that.
thank you.
The hot topic probably is, now that the barn is moved 2 weeks ago, I mean, we were given the impression, you know, working through this whole process, that it was gonna be very expedient in regards to putting it's construction. And it's been 2 weeks, I was wondering when the construction.
Chris, Jeff,
Yeah, huh?
soon.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, have you guys planned or?
No, there were a couple little there were a couple
So that's rain
there were a couple setbacks,
Yeah,
right?
Lake County holding us up.
Hold us up, so I think we're close to getting it done, right?
Yeah, the county needed to review an intergovernmental agreement that dated back to for 50 years, and,
So we're getting close.
so, we're moving forward, but had to work through that road.
And the only other thing I have is I noticed on the, I'm gonna show you something, we're doing a reveal. Thank you, I noticed that the, request for our permit for our raffle is in your consent agenda, and I thought you might be interested in what we're gonna raffle off.
Oh.
It's a birdhouse. It's a birdhouse. And I have to tell you, Marie Ross made this out except for that. Every bit of this wood came from the cover of the barn, of the fridge.
Wow.
And I can tell you, I got the paint from Carmichael, so it is the color of the fridge.
Wow.
It's official, so this is what you are going to be granting us permission to raffle off, and this is in honor of our, 50th anniversary.
Would somebody be sure to get a picture?
I got a bunch.
So, we can, if you guys are interested, I'm in charge of raffles, so I can let you guys know if, I don't know how to do this politically correct, but I guess I can just make it known when the raffle tickets are available. We will be selling them during, what's the one in June? Strawberry Fest, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be doing it during Strawberry Fest, during Vintage Days, possibly during Irish Days, doing some of the, during the festivals. Some of the festivals, we're not gonna be staffing it, like, we don't have enough people to staff it straight through. But we're just gonna be, it's something fun, but we took it, Marie brought it to our 50th anniversary meeting at the coffee house, and people were going nuts.
Awesome.
Like, where does it sell? We wanna buy, you know, so it's just something fun. I thought I'd let you know, this is what, well, everybody's gonna want. This is what you're approving, the permit for the raffle, this is what you're approving.
Just needs a way to hang it.
You know, she said it's kind of heavy to hang, it's not that heavy.
Really?
It's not horribly heavy, but she says she thinks it might have to go on a code.
So thank you for sharing. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Keep us moving. I'm gonna keep going back. I'm sure there's more comments. Well, do you have a comment for us, Jeff?
Yeah,
All right.
on the April 9th meeting, I actually asked Jeff about, the work that was done in the Towner subdivision and what we had discussed in 2023, and if there was, I brought up some concerns, and Jeff said he was gonna talk to the, village manager about it. Did you get a chance to talk about any of that? Yes, I did. Okay, what did we come up with?
So we talked to the township, and this is grouting a pipe to further restrict the water that's going under Osage Road. If you remember, the purpose of the project was to keep water off the private property. So I talked to Ela Township, and I talked to the village manager about that, moving that forward. So we got pricing for that, and we're in discussions about enacting that project.
Okay, so what is that gonna entail, if I may ask?
So as we talked about, it would be putting in an 8-inch pipe into the top of that culvert to allow and, force more water to go into the pipe that the village got grant to install last year.
Okay, and then the bottom of that would just be sealed off, so that water.
Correct.
Yep. Okay, because I know, and not your word, but, anything will help. On these last couple rains we've gotten, we all know that it's come down hellacious for like 15 or 20 minutes, and then it's done. A little bit of water still, because the water just comes up so fast, and then it does recede, but a little bit of water is still going on to the private properties. So, like I said, I mean, we got a 24-inch pipe, which is taking the water, but, you know, the drainage ditch was supposed to be 12 inches to the bottom of the culvert that goes underneath the road, it's only 5. So, anything you could do to make that an overflow and not just a different path to water would be great.
Do you have any pictures of the water going through? I drove by this afternoon after the inch and a half of rain we got last night, everything was dry. So, if you have some pictures, that would be
I
helpful.
did take some pictures, unfortunately, they were very blurry on my phone, so I don't have anything to pass along. It's not a lot of water, I'll give you, it's way better than it was before, but.
All right, thank you for that. Thank you for the follow-up. Anything else? Any other public comment?
If I could interrupt, sir, what is your name back there?
Oh, it's Jim Finn?
Jim?
Finn.
Sorry, I'm new, so
No
I'm
problem.
trying to learn the names. Address, please?
7056, Osage Road.
Thank you.
Okay, any other public comment? If not, we're gonna move to the public safety report. Lieutenant Kaiser?
We have nothing to report. Deputy Greg Oaks, who worked in Long Grove, for about 7 years, has retired, at the end of last year, and, a new deputy is working, Long Grove now on day shift, Kasha Osmer, so hopefully you see her out and about.
Thank you. Thank you. Have you met, Kasha?
Not yet, no.
Okay, got her.
Understood, yep.
All right. What's he doing in his retirement?
I believe he said he's going crazy. He retired after 30 years with the sheriff's office. He
Wow.
didn't want to leave, but, it was time.
It's time, okay, got it, all right. Thank you for that report. All right, we'll keep us moving here. We have a consent agenda. We have approval of the April 2024 bill warrant, approval of the regular board meeting minutes from April 9th, subject to non-substantive revisions. We also approval of the regular board meeting minutes from April 25th, subject to the same. Approval of a special event permit application for Prairie State Half Marathon, 10K, and Oktoberfest 5K, September 28th, 2024. Approval of special event permit application for the Turkey Trot 5K and 8K on November 28th, 2024. Approval of the Misericordia Heart of Mercy home to conduct raffles on 5/10 and 5/11. This is retroactive, waiving the $25 license fee. Approval of the Long Grove Historical Society to conduct a raffle on 9/14 and waiving the $25 fee. Approval resolution authorizing UBS, basically changing the signatories for UBS, and there's another one doing the same thing for BMO Harris. And then we didn't have a super quorum at the last meeting, so we do need to ratify the approved ordinance amending the fiscal 2023-24 budget, ordinance number 2023-0-07. Any questions?
If I might note, minor changes on the minutes, and also some typos will be corrected in items number 12 and 13.
So item number 7, I know you made some revisions, can you please circulate a new version digitally?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then I just want to mention for item 8 and 9, we need to make sure we have a valid, up-to-date certificate of insurance on file. I didn't see that in the board packet.
Okay.
We have those.
For item 10, why are we retroactive?
Because it came in right a little bit late, and we made the decision to go ahead and approve it. So, because they've been doing it every year, and they just didn't get it done. It was Mike Marr that said, hey, if you're gonna do this, you gotta submit it before the board, versus just doing it, right? Yeah, which could have happened. So I thanked him for letting us know.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Okay, so moved by trustee Kritzmeyer, seconded by trustee O'Reilly. Roll call, please.
Trustee Kritzmeyer?
Aye.
Trustee O'Reilly?
Aye.
Trustee Borowski?
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor?
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci?
Aye.
And do we have
And Jamil.
Trustee Jamil?
Thumbs up.
Muted.
You're muted, Is that an aye? Can we-
Aye,
can you say-
I'm here.
Okay, yes, all right, motion carried. All right.
That's how our Congress does this also, in case you're missing the voice vote, they do the up, down.
Is that what it is now?
They do both, just to make sure.
I've been at some of these auctions lately, and, boy, you don't wanna do that at one of those.
That's true.
Next thing you know, it's 10 grand out of your pocket. All right, so, now we have presentation of a concept plan for Lakeshore Canine that's located at 23-160 Old McHenry, would be located at 23 Old McHenry Road. Liz and Jordan Aaron, right?
And just to be clear, this is meant to be a informational screening, like if we
Yeah.
hate it, they don't want to proceed?
So this would be the.
Got it, okay, I just wanted to be clear on what action we're asking.
To the plan commission, right?
Yeah.
Is what it would be. See you, Peter. Look forward to seeing you at the turkey trot. All right, do you want me to bring up the presentation, or are you gonna present? You wanna stand up, or you wanna?
Sure.
You don't have to, I guess, but let me, you can come up here if you want to, and, if you don't want to, you don't have to. Let me,
Can we get a microphone?
oh geez.
Can you move the microphone?
If you move it, it doesn't work.
You move it, yeah. And I don't think it clicks.
Where's my shares? Oh, there it is.
You want to come on over?
Well, then people can hear you online too.
Even better.
Yeah, so thank you, right in center.
People can hear you.
All right.
Okay, so, Trustee Jamil, can you see this online too?
Yes.
All right, now if I could hide the video, maybe that will work. All right. Go ahead, take it away.
Hi, so I'm Liz, my husband Jordan. We currently own Lakeshore Canine in Highland Park, actually, so it's about a 15,000 square foot, 150 dog capacity facility. So we're looking to entertain the idea of bringing something very similar to Long Grove on a modified scale. Go ahead and click. So the services we are looking to offer is enrichment daycare, swimming, because there are pools on the property, private dog park, that would be membership-based, overnight care, and then community outreaches and events. So coming into the facility, I don't know if you're familiar with the area, but there's like little pods within it. So it's about 3,500 square feet of pods. So walking into it, we would have a retail store that would have your basic pet care needs. We currently use a software called Ginger, so it allows our clients to have their own app and access where they can request services, but they can also purchase products through there for convenient curbside pickup and drop off, which many businesses are doing nowadays. So that should help increase our retail sales and offer a basic storefront for your everyday pet owner to have what they need on a day-to-day basis. So that is the main building there. This is a rendering of what we would like it to look like, not what it currently looks like. Right now, it is very overgrown. The doors are gone. It's all boarded up. We know just from being on the property that there's a lot of outside visitors that are probably doing a lot of illegal things back there. So we would definitely give the property a facelift. We would be using the existing structure on the building, which is those little pods we talked about, to design 25 suites for the dogs. And then an indoor enrichment room, a bathing area, a puppy room. There would be a kitchen where we'd be preparing the meals for the dogs. And then 3 outdoor fenced areas. So as you can see, the lighter green areas off of those there, those would require a 6-foot privacy fence for the safety of the dogs, and so that they can't see out as well. And then the parking lot, if you're familiar with the property, it would, if allowed, would have an entrance and an exit that we could do curbside pickup and drop off, which is what we currently offer in Highland Park. We have a lot of success with it. And then the retail store. So this just gives you an idea of the separation of that land. So the red being the main structure, the red over here on the upper left-hand corner. So that is currently outdoor showers, actually. So it would need to be designed into a physical structure, an enclosed structure. That would be our enrichment room, indoor playroom, training room. The green is where we would have to have the privacy fencing directly off of the building. So that would be where the dogs could go out to eliminate them, and they could, play out there as well. So the private dog park is an interesting concept that we don't currently offer, but we'd have the luxury of being able to offer it in Long Grove because there's so much acreage there. So it would be membership-based. Clients would actually get a little key fob, so that would be their entrance and exit from the property. And then it would be open from sunrise to sunset. So it is a little unique in that we would be verifying all the vaccines for the dogs, just like we would for the dogs that currently come into our care. And all the dogs would be required to have a behavioral assessment as well, so that we know that they are dog-friendly and would have access to that area. We felt that this was really useful to the area because while Long Grove is known for its open land, we also know that wildlife can be a problem if you have small dogs or large dogs. It's hard to have them off leash, so it gives owners a place to bring their dog to socialize in an open area with other dogs as well.
That it? Oh, there's one more. That's it?
Oh, okay. So we felt that this property was very beneficial to the area because it's inclusive to anybody. So it could be for your dog owner that's just looking to pick up something at the retail store, somebody that's looking for their home away from home while they're on vacation, or needs an outlet for their dog during the day. It also gives somebody the ability to be more hands-on with their dog if they want to bring them to the dog park. And then we do have intentions of offering different community events or the pool. Right now at our current facility, we've done a lot of meetups, we've done group meetups, we've done CPR classes. So those are things that we would also like to bring to the Long Grove community.
For dogs.
So what questions do you all have? This is an area that's in disrepair, right, the Jay's Camp?
Yeah.
Well,
Do you need any,
Yeah, Jay's Camp, yeah.
do you need any changes to the access from Old McHenry Road?
So we would like to keep the current access that's there if possible.
And what are you thinking, what's your thinking
What you're thinking on retail store hours?
So we'd operate based on the hours our clients currently use, which would be 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday, and then we have 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on the weekends.
Just a facility such as yours have some kind of oversight from some government authority,
like county health department?
Whoever.
Yes, Department of Agriculture.
Okay, so they kind of monitor you.
To make sure that you are meeting their standards, correct?
Right, so that the dogs are cared for and.
Yep, clean, your facility is clean, your capacities are appropriate.
Okay. And then, this is a silly question, why do you have 5 digits in your address?
23160?
I can't answer that.
It's the county.
The county address doesn't.
County road.
Okay, so it doesn't have a Long Grove address, technically.
Long Grove Post.
Yeah, it's good question, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, it just.
Should be RFD, right? I don't know.
No, it should be 4 digits.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, and then, ironically, somebody close to me just had a dog injured at a daycare where a dog attacked her dog. Do you have liability for that?
Yeah, so we do have insurance as a business in situations like that. We try to minimize that as much as possible. At the end of the day, they are animals.
Right.
So just like kids at a daycare, we have 3 young kids ourselves, and I mean, our kids have been bit at the daycare. Dogs communicate with their mouths. So
Right.
that's why we go through the behavioral assessment, so we know each individual dog's personality and quirks.
I found it interesting that they are not paying for the care, which I didn't think that was quite right either.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see something like this, because we're nuts about our dogs.
They're an extension of your family, right?
Well, yes, we're nuts too.
Yeah.
Thank you, I'm glad to see you.
Chris, do you have anything?
No questions?
Okay. Ken?
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
With the dog park, on a really nice sunny day, are 13 parking spaces going to be sufficient?
So that is something we have discussed. I'm not totally sure. We had talked about possibly putting additional parking on the north end of the tennis court if we needed it, and there will be some spots at the main entrance as well, so 6 spots there. So it's definitely something we'd have to consider.
But maybe you should answer that question another way. Isn't there, what is the number of dogs that would be there at a given time, right?
Well, the dogs don't drive.
No, but I mean, as far as people that would actually be there at one given time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. So my dog can drive, just, you know, so, go ahead.
Well, so yeah, the actual main structure capacity would be 25 to 30 dogs. However, the dog park would have different capacities because it's being, well, we're maintaining it and we are monitoring who's buying memberships for it. That's something we'd probably have to take into consideration because it is the owners, they would have a key fob actually that they'd be utilizing to get in and out of that area. It would not be monitored on a day-to-day basis by our staff per se.
Yeah, you don't plan to have actual supervision there
Correct.
during your hours, yeah?
Correct.
But nonetheless, 13 seems, to me, it just seems.
Low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can they park
You know, for,
staff, that goes between the two parking lots?
They definitely could if that's what they would want for it.
My kids went to camp there, we had 100 cars that were parked on the other side of that tennis court.
Yeah, so I had heard that people had gone to events there and they parked along.
Well, at the backside of that property is gravel.
It's just gravel.
Yeah.
You just park cars if you needed to, I can't imagine.
We're open to exploring parking situations. We still have to talk to the Lake County Department of Transportation to see if we can even keep those two entrances. So, the parking might be something that changes, drastically.
yeah, it could be a tricky in and out there.
Yeah, well, we live a mile down the street from here, and, every morning going to work or taking our kids to school, that turn lane on 22 is brutal.
Right.
So we've recently been sitting in that line thinking, wow, how are people gonna get out? So we know that the parking is gonna be something that we definitely need to really look into.
Well, and Jeff would know more than I do, but it could require right turn in, right turn out.
Yeah.
Which almost could be problematic.
Of course, yeah, because there's no way to come back going the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're having people pulling in through the primrose, going to the primrose, get back the other direction.
Which would not be your idea.
We're willing to,
We have a whole other problem.
figure out any way that we can to make the parking work. But if that means more parking, then, we've got 50 people that show up to the dog park every day, that'd be great, So, if that requires us to add more parking, we would do it.
Okay, and the other, question I have, or issue, I guess, is it's currently zoned residential, as are the lots to which which are contiguous to this property. So, given what's on 22 at this time, the barn is the first lot, then Jay's camp, and then a small piece. It looks very small to me when I drive past, but if the center parcel has a zoning change, it seems only, it's a presumption, but I would suspicion it would invite a request for zoning changes on either side to something more in common with facility like this, as opposed to single families going in there, or townhomes or whatever.
That is one of the areas in our comprehensive plan. Bobby, you were on the.
I'm just thinking about the conversations we had about this whole piece of property, and we were up in the clouds. We really, the farm to table.
Right, yeah.
Was just a dream, probably not realistic, but we knew that this could be a special place, and I think this could be the first piece of a special place. I can think of lots of things that could coordinate with, you go drop your dog off in Hampton, you know, with a ranchy kind of restaurant, that kind of thing. So I think creativity on that total property is just there for the way.
It could create some nice additional traffic for that retail that's already there on the northwest.
So,
Well, yeah.
well, the point I was making is that it was already contemplated for some kind of, you know, quasi-commercial development there. So, but then, the way.
Something with low density.
Correct, yeah. So, but the other thing is that probably probably the way this would go, and I've been asking these questions too, because I got a preview of this last week, is that you would do like a special use situation where as long as this business was in operation, that's the use, but once the business goes out of operation, it goes back to the underlying zoning.
Why?
Why? Just so that you're preserving the opportunity to do something there differently in the future and you don't lock it in, so.
Isn't that always the case for the next owner to request the zoning change then?
Well, to add a little sharpness to that, we would not be changing, the recommendation would be not to change the underlying zoning. Rather, we would create a special use permit opportunity, and we would have limitations on where that special use permit could be sought that would largely limit it to this site. And that wouldn't preclude a transfer of this for the same use to somebody else. But if that use were to stop, the property would revert back to the underlying zone.
It protects us more. Let's say somebody wants to come in there and, I don't know, build something we don't even want, and you know, basically we're stuck with it. But this way, you know, the underlying zoning goes back to residential, so we, you know, minimizes our risk.
Okay, I would like to see this go to plan commission, but that, I'm sorry, I got
They'll be,
questions about what you just said.
they'll be weighing, the plan commission, this will be before them to come back with that feedback on how to solution it, if you will, right? And I'm probably opening up a can of worms, but, I mean, Chris would know, right? So you were former plan commission, yeah.
It begs the question, and I'm not opposed to this. Yes, I want to see it go to the PCCBA. But it begs the question that if that business is here, who are the most likely candidates to occupy either side while it is a business? It could be 20, 30 years. So what does it invite? And is it conducive to residential as the current zoning is on the two contiguous parcels? That's something it's just something I am trying to figure out, period. But I think it would be a nice facility there.
Okay, two questions. Regarding the dog park, are the key fobs electronically programmable so that people cannot get in after sunset and before sunrise?
Yes. So we currently use a system from Bulldog Security to do all our cameras and everything as well, and we use them in our facility for the same purpose.
Okay, very good. And then the second thing is, as a dog lover myself, I'm not bothered by the sound of dogs barking, but not everybody's like me. So what could you say to neighbors that are immediately adjacent to that area who might raise concerns about the sounds of barking dogs all day at the dog park?
Yeah, so the dog park will be under specific hours. In regards to how owners control the barking, that will ultimately be up to them, but I can only speak for myself, but I know in our neighborhood, you do hear dogs bark. Where our facility currently is at 150 dog capacity, we have a plethora of outdoor areas that when it's a nice day, the dogs do spend most of the time outside. We have housing directly across from the facility down the bike path, and we've never had a complaint about barking in the area. So, I don't know, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, we hope that, you know, the pet parents that want to join the dog park are going to be responsible pet owners. And I think, you know, although we might not be there monitoring it on a day-to-day basis, if, you know, personally, I don't like the sound of dogs barking, and ironically, we own a pet care facility. But I also came from a dog training background, but I think it would be something that we would be able to address.
quite a distance from those homes, though.
And there's a lot of natural
I-
screening on the north
I-
side of the parcel.
I walked that property. You know, it's, there's no sound barrier, but, you know, I climbed over the thing and walked around, and it's an easy, I don't know, 600-700 feet away. They're out there.
Well, there's also an unbuildable parcel there, that low-lying area. It's actually in the comprehensive plan, so they can't even, there'll be a significant distance between the homes there too. So,
The ones that are in the wetland area?
yeah, the wetland area, yeah, so.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I did meet 3 of them.
Oh, Trustee Jamil, do you have any comments, or? No?
No.
Questions? Okay.
I did meet 3 of our finest young men. I was walking proud.
Oh, geez. So we're looking for a motion, to refer to the Plan Commissioning and Zoning Board of Appeals.
Second.
Okay, so moved by Trustee Kritzmeyer, seconded by Trustee O'Reilly. Is that a voice vote, or is it, yeah, voice vote?
Trustee,
No, I'm sorry, roll call. All in favor? All in favor? Any nays?
Aye.
Okay, refer. Thank you. Motion carried. Thank you. All right, so, there's also, the next item on the agenda is consideration of a resolution to purchase rock salt. Any questions, comments?
No.
No?
Standard.
Somebody want to make a motion to approve? Okay, moved by Trustee O'Reilly, seconded by Trustee Tanucci. That's a roll call.
Trustee O'Reilly,
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci,
Aye.
Trustee Borowski,
Aye.
Trustee Jamil,
Aye.
Trustee Kritzmeyer,
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Next item is consideration of an ordinance amending the village code regarding Historic Preservation Commission duties. It was identified that, the code, how we do business today, this Historic Preservation Commission, is one of the items in there is sort of, in conflict with how we do things today, and so that this was just being done to clarify that. And I don't know if there's questions, or there's a comment, from Jean. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm just a little puzzled by it. I don't know exactly why when the Historic Preservation Commission ordinance was, or the enabling ordinance, I guess, was, enacted, why it was drafted so differently from the Architectural Commission. So there clearly was a reason for it, and I'm guessing it's because in the 90s, there was an effort by the village to pursue some historic preservation incentive. So, I don't personally, I mean, I understand, why the board would want to make this change. I don't see anything in the existing ordinance, I guess I just don't understand, because with the Architectural Commission, there's an appeal process that you have to go through if you agree with the, findings of the, I don't want to interrupt while you're talking. Oh, no, go ahead. But there's no appeal process here. So one thing is kind of nagging at me, and I'm wondering if the village was pursuing CLG status for a certified local government. There has to be a historic preservation ordinance, and it has to have some teeth, and I'm wondering if that's why this language was put in there at the time, but I don't know for a fact. So if, at some point, if the village does, pursue that status, I think that this ordinance again would have to, because the state would have to approve a local ordinance, a local historic preservation ordinance, in order to bestow CLG status. So, that's my guess. Otherwise, I mean, I personally don't, I mean, I would love to have a complete unfettered power, but I understand that that's not something that's gonna happen. So, I don't have any objection to it. I just kind of like raise some questions.
Here's the irony. So nobody even, heck, I've been on the board almost 10 years now, and nobody's ever brought that up. This is like the first time it came up. And it was brought to my attention by the former village manager, Greg Jackson. And, so then when you start reading that code and then you read the AC code and you're like, oh, okay, it doesn't make sense because they almost should be the same, right? And maybe that's why they did it, I don't know.
think that's why, I think
Yeah.
there was something that they were trying to achieve, and there had to be a requirement in it for some specific. Having said that, though, this ordinance just establishes the commission. It doesn't there really is no historic preservation ordinance, you know, that gives specific criteria
Mhm.
on the book. So it's kind of, an unknown, or it's kind of a mystery to me why it was written this way, so.
How does this function?
That's all a good question. No, I mean, I think what Jean says is exactly right. There are no specified procedures, there are no specified standards. This is apparently a placeholder ordinance for what could be in the future a certified historic preservation commission. I've written several historic preservation ordinances, and this one would not pass muster. And quite frankly, the absence of standards coupled with what is currently a mandatory authority that they have, I think the technical term is it presents the risk for a heap bunch of trouble. And so, when we actually had occasion to look at this, my conversation with Chris was, we really need to draw that back so that it's going to have at most a recommendation, have it come to the board, and then at a future time, and I think, Trustee O'Reilly, you had talked about maybe this would be a, what's that word? Workshop discussion. And so rather than trying to preempt what might come out of a workshop discussion, the notion was just to avoid any potentiality of the heap bunch of trouble aspect of this ordinance.
Right now, there's a whole lot of authority and very little responsibility, and this is, we
Right,
really have to dial it back.
and it doesn't even have, I mean, technically, it doesn't even have board oversight, which, again, not a question that had ever come up, but when it did come up, it sent the alarms going off.
But isn't that inherent in everything?
No.
I mean, we don't
No.
have a commission that
No,
works
no,
outside
the
of.
Architectural Review Commission has specific standards, it has specific procedures, and it's subject to board review.
But-
The HPC ordinance, which has no standards, has this really anachronistic provision that says, but it gets to review everything and can impose mandatory conditions. That's why, when this was brought to our attention, we changed
Where
it.
does it say that?
Oh, it's in there, it's in there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
It's
and
right here.
Yeah,
See?
recommended from,
Mandatory conditions.
right.
Oh, see,
So they
I
could
only-
impose
I-
mandatory conditions upon the village board.
I got to K.
You just missed it.
Missed it by that much.
I did.
You see, it did not mandate, it did not have mandatory provisions against the board. So what it said is that there were.
Well, I'm reading the words right here. It says impose mandatory conditions. I didn't make that up.
No,
But it doesn't say to who.
Mandatory conditions.
It would be to a permit applicant.
To a permit, not to the board.
In other words, the changes you make to a permit, it's not just the commission has.
To a project or a permit.
Right.
Within the business district.
Right. So the concern is, as I mentioned, that this is an authority that, is without process and without, standards. Those are two very good ways to get yourself in legal trouble. And so, again, not wanting to preempt any kind of discussion by the board about what might be the next steps from an historic preservation, policy, my recommendation was simply to let's defang this and move forward.
No. Can we
What the ordinance does, the proposed ordinance does, is simply say that they can make recommendations.
could you, we maybe could look up, or if you have copies of an alternative to this, would that be possible?
As I said, I've written several historic preservation ordinances, but those usually are after policy discussions that then generate that kind of ordinance, as opposed to
I see.
passing the ordinance and then having the policy.
I see.
The thought,
I've written those ordinances too, and this is sort of like a shell ordinance, it's very, it's.
Yeah, it seems like it's a placeholder. I'm guessing that's what happened.
the thought process was to not re-engineer this tonight or whatever, but to do it in the future, but to take something out of it that could put us at odds with the architectural, commission.
I think that makes sense. It's taking out that one little objectionable thing, it's leaving a placeholder, and we should actually do have a proactive discussion about what historic preservation, how do we want to see it, and so forth, in some other discussion.
Correct, and that's all.
I think that would be fantastic, and everybody on the commission would agree with that wholeheartedly.
All right, I move we do this.
Okay, so moved by trustee Kritzmeyer,
Second.
seconded by trustee Tanucci. Is that a roll call?
Trustee Kritzmeyer.
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee Jamil.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Aye.
All right, motion carried.
As a question, just before I just spoke for Adam, that mostly we have to have a roll call for things like attendance and money, right? Does it need to be a roll call?
I have no idea.
It's an ordinance.
Because it's an ordinance.
Okay, thank you. So the next one needs to do that. The next one is consideration of an ordinance granting a side yard setback variation for construction of a garage at 5147 Bridlewood. I don't know if somebody wants to introduce this, because we don't have a village planner, right?
I think it was a good write-up, we can perhaps take it as read.
Yeah, I mean, real simply, this is a lot that doesn't have any frontage on the street, and that puts the yards in a sort of awkward situation, and in order to allow them to put this garage addition, the logical place, given the orientation of the house and the location of the lot, was the area that needs the variation. So the Plan Commission the PCZBA did recommend it for approval, and the ordinance would grant that.
There were also some limitations to it.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Is that on your ordinance? I didn't.
What are the limitations?
Yeah, and we did receive,
The limitations were that the setback is only applies to the area where the garage is.
yeah.
That they must provide a letter from the homeowners association, not just the president, it must be from the board, because this is changing their, homeowners association rules, which they can do as long as the board approves it. And
We got something from the HOA president saying he has the signing authority of the HOA. Does that restriction then kind of mess with their governance, or no?
no, it from the president is not sufficient enough. Under their, homeowners association, the successor to the previous owner is the homeowners association. So the letter of approval should come from the board, which simply means the secretary attests that the board has voted on it and is approved. Or the president can attest to it. I think the letters sound like the president attested to it.
Yeah.
The letter was simply a letter from the president.
Yeah, we got a new
Oh,
one
there's a
today.
new one?
Yep.
Oh, okay, all right.
I can give it to you.
I haven't seen it. What we had was only a letter from the president, not an attestation.
But village, yeah, but village staff will make sure all of it's in order, and the resolution covers that.
Yep.
I mean, the rest of the write-up was good.
Yeah.
So Helen, may I just ask one question? Just, basically granting the variance is because of a hardship, right?
Yes.
And is there any other place to put the garage on that property? This is logical and it makes sense, and you go, man, if you're gonna build a garage, that's where you're gonna build it, I get that. But is there any other true limiting factor that says we can't build it somewhere else in the back, or what?
There were two limitations, one where the well is, and two where the septic field was.
Yeah, I saw that.
There was also a requirement within the homeowners association that said that any addition has to have a common wall. So in having a common wall, which their breezeway does, they could have put it in another place, which would have required, I think, a 70-foot breezeway, which was sort of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And just did not make sense, and the homeowners association also had submitted writing that they weren't really in favor of a 70-foot Way, which we would, did not look as good either, I mean, in terms of the way that it was presented. So yes, it was considered, but with all of the circumstances, this was the most logical, best looking, most reasonable way to approach the situation.
And given the septic bill, it almost feels like if it wasn't the garage, it'd at least be the driveway.
Ellen, thank you, that was very thorough.
Okay.
Sounds like you did a thorough review. So
We
with
did.
that, I'll move to approve.
Okay, moved by trustee Borowski, seconded by, I didn't,
Second?
O'Reilly, trustee O'Reilly? Roll call?
Trustee Borowski.
Late at night.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Aye.
Trustee Jamil.
Aye.
Trustee Kritzmeyer.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I'm sorry, Helen, what is your last name?
Wilson,
Wilson.
Chair of the Planning Commission.
Okay,
I'm here and that.
great.
Thank you for being here. All right, that motion carried.
Thank you for working on the planning.
Consideration of an ordinance amending the village code regarding the village manager's responsibilities. There are various additions in there, like building commissioner and other roles mentioned and referenced, and we don't have those.
Superintendent.
Building superintendent, there you go. We don't have those,
And, real quickly, historical quirks throughout the village code, rather than trying to thresh through the entire village code to identify each and every one of them. This is our prophylactic approach to, making sure we have somebody who's filling the spot.
An appropriate use of that word.
What?
Nothing. Does anyone want to discuss, any discussion on this? Okay, trustee Jamil, you've been quiet, anything? No, yes?
Is there anything that gets us in trouble or extends?
No, this actually spares us any potential problems. Again, we've had so many staff turnovers, not just recently, but I mean, if you go back 15 years when many of these ordinances were first enacted, we keep finding new ones, so we just figured we'd give that guy the title.
We're just cleaning things up.
Well, and the other thing is, we've been kind of doing these things too. So we've been, there hasn't been the role, but we've just been doing them, so we're just clarifying it. Correct.
Somebody's gotta do it. It's gotta be
It's that come before the plan commission particularly, so I'm very happy. Good deal.
So, trustee Borowski, you made a motion, or are you gonna make a motion?
Sure, I will.
Okay, moved by trustee Borowski. Second by trustee O'Reilly. Roll call, please.
Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Aye.
Trustee Jamil.
Aye.
Trustee Kritzmeyer.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. This one, I don't know, Jeff, we may have you, I mean, it's amazing, but this is consideration of resolution approving an award of the 2024 road maintenance contract to Builders Paving LLC for base bid and both bid alternatives. I mean, this is amazing. It came in $281,000 less than engineer's estimated cost. I kept looking at it going, I got it wrong.
And I didn't go through the details of it in the drawings, but when I read your report, am I correct in saying that there's one of them is the overall cheapest, but since we're the ones who get to make the decisions, we're basically optimizing for the long run portion?
So Peter Baker was the low bid on the base bid. That included,
Long
Long
Road
Road, Manassas, Fort Clinton, and State Lakeridge, Fort Lakeridge Drive. And all the work in Hillier and all the work in Pila Township. So, Long Road gets to decide if they pursue the alternate. If you pursue the alternate, that is a net savings to the village of over $75,000.
Okay, I see.
Over, with builders as opposed to Peter Baker.
Got it, okay.
So, if you remember in 2022, Long Grove was on the other side of this.
Yes.
Where Long Grove had to pay a little bit more to go with the low bidder, because this was a combined bid, and Killdeer and Pila Township benefited from that. Now, they're on the other side of that.
But is the Longview, okay.
Yep.
This is our area, okay.
Are they capable?
Builders paving? Yeah, Builders paving actually. They actually bought Arrow Road Construction, and Arrow Road
okay.
Construction has done, a few of the road programs in the village over the last 10 years.
So there's no more Arrow?
Correct.
Oh, wow.
That name has gone away.
All right.
And so it's $500,000 under budget, so we have a suggestion of where we could put that money.
Does not include the reclamite, so that will still be added in, that's only less than 100,000
Yeah.
estimated, so.
If we have any other future discussion of reclamite, can we set a time?
I don't wanna talk about it, I just wanna say that one piece.
Or just included?
But, I mean, this is I was amazed that this is like everything for the price of just doing the base bid, right? That was crazy, so I'm like, what's wrong?
Yeah, 2024 has kind of been an anomaly. Our company has seen it. Usually, you know, you get prices at the beginning of the year here, and then just keep going up as the year goes on. This year, they've gone down, and it's
And it's
not
not
only
like
this,
the price of oil is going up or
no,
going down either.
and, yeah, you know, the price of oil is a very small portion of the price of the asphalt, so,
Okay.
a lot of other things are going down. Last year, they kind of spiked, and everybody was kind of thinking that that spike would stay in effect, but it's recently gone the other way.
Labor and investing in new machines could be more expensive, and, yeah.
So
I think you're right, though,
any other questions on it?
federal money.
Trustee Jamil, yes?
So, you know, whenever this ordinances states that this is the lowest bid, the trustees should be able to review all the bids received in a separate document before we go on and approve this, because now the letter of the ordinance says that it is the lowest bid. So where are the other bids and how to see those information? How many people did apply for the bids? And I agree that it may be the lowest, but the other bids has to be enclosed so that for the transparency reason, and before we approve this ordinance, the trustees should be able to know.
It's in the packet.
Under 20D as in dog. It's very small print.
It's very detailed, too.
Yeah.
20C and 20D are the tabulations both combined and then broken out for long growth. And it's got, all the bids that we received. We received bids from 7 contractors. All 7 showed up for the bid opening. So contractors are looking and hungry for work right now.
Does trustee Jamil not receive a board packet?
Everyone does.
Everyone does, it's online, so,
Okay. Seems to be an issue.
you see it now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I mean, I did look at it, so I know this is correct, so.
I've looked 7 years out of 7.
I may have missed it, but I'll look again.
Any other questions? I mean, does somebody want to make a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, moved by
Second.
trustee Riley, seconded by trustee O'Connor.
And we're approving the base bid and the bid alternate.
Correct.
Okay.
Roll call.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee Jamil.
Aye.
Trustee Kritzmeyer.
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Now the moment you've been waiting for, the village engineers report.
For the village engineer's report is in the board packet. I'll highlight a few things. As Gene brought up earlier, the roof barn has been moved and we're waiting on the county to issue the septic sewer permit. That's the first thing that needs to be done. So, delay in that, the county reviewing, that, IGA that I mentioned earlier. The road program.
Sorry, before you go,
Go ahead.
I just have a question about the Village Hall expansion. Of course, every project needs a project manager, kind of oversee the whole thing. Who is the project manager in this case?
Wold Architects is.
So they're,
Jonathan Kuznowski.
so they're directing all of the efforts.
And we are having bi-weekly meetings with them. So Fair Construction, Jeff, staff here, and Wold are all present.
I think for all the money we paid them, they better be the project manager.
Okay. I'm sure. Seems like the septic permit is something that should have been thought of a long time ago.
The county health department has misread its code. And we've been able to tell them how to read it correctly. I think that they have finally figured that out.
Okay,
Jeff?
good.
Yeah.
I have concerns. We were supposed to start April 1st, middle of May. You know, what else is there out there that we don't know that's gonna stop us? I guess if we don't know, you can't answer that question. That's my concern.
Keep us going.
Okay, just a couple other things, Aptekissick Road widening is going, smoothly, on the south side of that. I did get a little bit more information on the intersection project, Route 22 and Route 83.
Yeah.
The state is still moving forward with their phase 1 feasibility engineering study, scheduled to be complete this summer. And then, phase 2 detailed design engineering, will take about 24 months to complete is what they said. So, looking at earliest construction in either late 2026 or, probably more likely 2027.
So is it still probably gonna get done before 22 and North Kruger?
22 in North Kruger, that whole widening, the only response we've ever gotten is, construction in the latter part of the 2024 to 2029, multi-year plan.
You know,
Ouch.
And that's
Until the next
year, right?
for those of us who have
Slide
lived through the years and years and years of this, it's really kind of stupid. I mean, I'm walking around with a bad, painful back because of that intersection. And yet, that was 8 years ago. It's dumb. Well, Illinois. And continues to be dangerous.
Okay, let's keep us moving.
Okay,
Sorry, Bobby.
not to, keep picking on IDOT, but 15A, just an update. The state was looking at, the traffic data and safety of the Route 53 and Schaefer Road intersection. That, analysis was to be complete by the end of March, then it was the end of April, and now we don't know. So, we're working with Representative Saeed's office to get more information on that, but, not progressing on the timeline that was initially, conveyed.
Is that a request, I meant to ask you that, is that a request for a stoplight or a separate left turn lane?
Both.
You said that.
Both.
Well, and also what would be involved with the pedestrian crossing.
Yeah,
All three.
a bridge would work.
So, all three, we're waiting for, some
But
data.
how is there enough room from east to west as well as north to south for that, at that intersection? If they just eminent
There's
domain, they
quite-
would just take it
Well,
over?
there's quite a wide right of way there. Trees make it feel narrower. Part of that.
So are you saying that P3 and Schaefer will have an engineering study prior to North Kruger in 22?
I wouldn't say an engineering study, they're reviewing the safety of the intersection, and, whether a bypass lane or a turn lane is warranted.
We have to.
Gee, there's a thought, at North Kruger in 22, a passing lane that isn't a rut would even be better than the crap that's there now. So why don't we hurry that along?
He's just a messenger.
I know, but he's such a good messenger.
He's just a messenger. We have stuff from like our.
So, if that one could be
I
something the
know,
village
Brad.
wants to just ask about, if that part can move forward while the overall widening is on its current track, we could discuss that with Representative Saeed's office too.
Is that Representative Saeed there, or is it, switch districts? I don't know.
Yeah, it was Megan Yerger, she was there at,
Yeah,
the meet and greet, last week.
yeah, okay. Well, you can ask, always ask.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, while we were at the, meet and greet last week, which was a great event, the, manager of Seal, sorry, let me know, I didn't know.
It took me a while.
Okay. Okay, Seal. Okay. She told me that McGinsey had been out out there within the last 2 weeks to treat the invasives. As for others to report, so I'm still waiting for that, but seems like they're keeping tabs on that more so than they have in the past.
Anything else?
So I have
Any more questions?
any questions? And report?
Thank you for the report. The village president trustee report, the only thing that I'll mention during mine is we did select the date for a workshop, which is Saturday, June 8th. So we've got to get that nailed down, the last meeting. Is everyone good with that?
No, I talked to Rita, she can't.
Oh, you can't, okay. That's why you're looking at me.
At,
No, I don't know, the people that were present at the last, the elected officials that were present at the last meeting said June 8th. That, we have to pick another date, so.
well, at this time, it has switched back, but now that you bring that up, that's the second event where it's there. This one, at least, the upcoming one we're talking about, the meet and greet was, this is the date. I don't remember any conversation about it. And I wasn't able to be there. Chris was out of town.
No, I mean,
Oh, okay, whatever. But, you know, you can't just pull these numbers out of the sky, or you shouldn't. We shouldn't. I don't think it's,
Again, at the last meeting, those present at the meeting threw out the date. If it doesn't work, we're gonna find another date.
no, I understand, but that was probably the least amount of people at a meeting that we've had in 2 or 3 years.
It's bound to happen, but again, we put a date on the calendar, trying to come up with it. If it doesn't work, sorry, we'll pick another date. No worries.
No, but it didn't, and at this time it does, so it's on my calendar.
Oh, it's on your calendar.
But yes, but I'm saying for the future, it would be nice if there was some kind of commiseration about dates.
The field day, that was their day.
Pardon me?
The field day
Yes,
next week. Is that what you're saying you couldn't make because we just?
correct.
Okay, that was their day, not ours.
When did we discuss doing this?
We didn't, we made a decision to do it, just like we did the last one for Greg. It's was not a board decision, so.
Could
nope.
we have
Why wasn't it a board decision?
once a year, like in general?
We could if you wanted to, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, residents are always welcome here, but this is something that, you know, okay, let's just sort of like do this.
We could do that, yeah. Yep.
What month?
You said once a month.
No, I mean, wait,
Oh, no.
once a year. You said once a year.
Phase one, doing
September, October, November, no.
No, I actually think May would not be bad, because that's when new elected officials come in.
All right, so let's do, you'll circulate June 8th or another date and see who can make it. If not, we will plan another date for the workshop, so.
I think we just determined
Yeah.
Are you good?
We're all here.
You said you weren't good.
Oh, when I talked to Rita.
Oh, I thought you weren't good.
Initially,
Oh, so it is June 8th then. Everyone good?
right. That's clear now.
Trustee Jamil, can you join June 8th on a Saturday?
Let me check the schedule and come back to you. I think I'm working. I might not. This weekend I'm working, so.
All right, it would be in the morning, so,
Oh, okay, I'll let you know if the change is.
thank you.
What is the time frame that's being in?
Probably 8 to 11 or something like that, or 9 to 12.
I went there a week. Make it 8 o'clock for 5 months.
So something like that in that range, right? Okay, yeah, we can make it a little later.
We can bring coffee.
I was gonna say like 7 AM okay on Saturday? That's fine by me.
There you go.
Who gets to sleep anymore anyways? I don't, so. All right, I've lost control and I'm the one that caused it. So, end of report, trustee Borowski.
Nothing to report.
Trustee Jamil, anything to report?
No.
No report. Trustee Kritzmeyer.
I have to check in with, do we have a date? A date we talked about, we approved bringing on consultants for financial, we need to, I've been out, like, the last 2 weeks, we need to find a date.
Yeah, you gave me a couple that I checked with them, and I'm just firming that up.
Okay, yeah, it's a good circle, so we're we approved bringing the people in from,
Lauterbach.
and, Lauterbach name, and so we'll get started with that in the next.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, trustee O'Connor.
Yes, Jeff and I finished our tour of the pathways, but we will have the report next meeting or the meeting thereafter, because Jeff is gonna make it up pretty and, pretty and marked and color-coded and so on and so forth, because he has that talent and I do not. I drive. You,
Oh, you were the designated driver?
I was the designated driver.
Got it.
Yeah. And, this is not in my bailiwick, but I'm not sure we're aware of this. I spoke to Waste Management a couple weeks ago about landscape pickup and discovered during the phone call that every day of the week, they put a truck on the road that drives all of the long roads, over the week drives all of the Long Grove roads looking for people that put the bags out instead of, having like the yearly subscription, whatever. They drive the roads every day of the week in whatever.
Or landscape waste?
In addition to the garbage truck and the recycle truck. And I said, I said, this is a town where probably 85% of the residents have landscapers. And I use the landscape waste pickup just because I garden and whatever. It's whatever. But it's a minority in this town that doesn't just have the landscapers do and take everything. So I said, Mike, that's like a lot of labor and gas and pollution, and I said, I know your trucks don't pollute it.
So you talking to
Mike Brink, yeah, and I didn't know that was a part of our agreement with Waste Management.
I don't think it is.
They only come on my street on the garbage day.
Right, but that's because it's your day. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
We only have one garbage day in Long Grove, it's Wednesday.
He said it's every day of the week.
No, we only have one day, it's Wednesday.
For landscape waste.
For landscape waste.
No, they won't pick it up if you put it out early. They don't pick mine up.
I know how it works. I understand how it works.
They know.
He
It's a bag of leaves,
He said, I agree with you, that is a waste, but it's what we do because it's in our contract. So.
That's what we do because we're waste management.
Well.
All right, we'll check your contract, Rita, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah,
I've never seen a landscape guy drive on the street ever. I don't even know what that truck looks like.
I have to
It
call.
looks like a garbage truck.
It's a regular garbage truck?
Yeah.
They only come down my street on Wednesday. On the
Yeah.
They only come on the garbage day.
Yeah, I've never seen them.
So we'll look into it, but thank you for that. Anything else?
Every street,
Anything else, Rita?
in the report.
All right, thank you. Trustee O'Reilly?
Just thank you to the village for the efforts for the handicapped people who now have a very, very appropriate space. Thank you.
We're glad you're well, so. Trustee Tanucci?
Nothing to report.
Okay, so village manager report?
We say handicapped, is that still the right word?
I don't know,
It still is. All right, so we do have a reason to go into executive session. It should not take long. It's regarding acquisition and disposition of property. Can you stay a little bit later for this? It's important.
Sure.
So,
Glad to.
Finish your coffee,
thank you.
Ann?
I'll just wind up.
So I need a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of acquisition and disposition of property. Moved by trustee Borowski.
Does anybody want to see the birdhouse one more time?
Hold on a second, I just need to finish this. Seconded by trustee Tanucci. Voice vote, okay?
No.
Roll call.
Trustee Borowski. Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Trustee Jamil.
Is that an aye? Aye, okay.
Trustee Kritzmeyer.
Trustee Kritzmeyer, executive session.
Exciting things that happen.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Okay.
This time will be different.
All right.
It'll be really good.
Stand by, don't go anywhere.
Even though it's what we'll talk about.
No, I'm gonna go too.
Okay.
Chris will be able to.
Yeah, we got it. Chris, can you record it too?
Yeah, he's got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
The clerk should say,
Yeah, he's.
yeah.
your one too, like black and gold. These are good.
Vic, they don't have to allow certain staff members?
What's that?
Have to allow certain staff members to be present in there?
It's up to the board who would be present.
Okay.
You know, I don't think, probably not necessary for
I'm not sure I got.
anybody, you know, like his team probably will.
No, they're gonna leave, but I didn't know if, like, Jeff did that kind of a weird one.
You got the
Yeah.
recording that?
So I have the recording for this, and I'm gonna start a new recording for the
Yeah,
executive
have the
session.
recording.
Yeah, you'll have to start one for the executive session. That's the one you're gonna have to save too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look at you.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you'll.
So they vote to purge it.
Executive session.
Yeah.
I got people still on here. How do I get rid
Sorry, you
of
have
it?
to say executive session, you have to say who's in there, it's on the board.
I'll guide them, yeah.
I technically have to leave this up. Well, Dr. Daniels here.
Living somewhere there.
Team, I know that you have gone into the breakout room in the past. I don't know.
Yeah, I can add them in. Can we,
Mine is, trustee Joe.
Yeah, it's online, yeah.
can you shut down that camera in the
Yeah,
back?
and then you'll have to.
I'm sorry, you know, I did ask.
You have that day, right?
Here,
Yeah.
Karen, you can hop
Oh,
off.
is that
There's
who that-
nothing else
You take care.
to go on tonight. Thanks for attending.
Karen, can you drop off?
You can also hit Rob.
She's looked that way the whole time,
I
so.
think it's just a picture.
Remove. Did I do that?
Yep.
I need to grab my stuff.
All right.
See you, Kinga.
Thanks for your help, Kinga.
Okay,
So, you need
you can tell it.
workshop items of interest?
Yep. Let's socialize that.
The White Nose King, this is how I ended up.
Oh.
Singer, wife said,
You know,
Yeah.
that's Jan Healy. She does such a nice job. She's.
So can I
she's
have a
I'll
motion?
mention it to her.
But it's not just that article.
Okay, moved by trustee Riley, seconded by trustee Tanucci?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone.
Good night. 8:55.
I'm sure Jan would be happy to put that in.
Yeah,
It's not just
she's a.
that detail, you know?